Ever watched a Tarantino movie and thought, there's something different about this guy? The way his characters talk, the music he picks, the tension, the humor, everything feels alive. Quentin Tarantino builds his worlds with attitude, style, and personality in every frame. Let's break down what makes his films stand out and why his style keeps pulling people back in. Trademark 1. Vivid dialogue and pop culture references. What makes Quentin Tarantino's movies so fun to watch is the way his characters talk. His dialogue feels sharp, alive, and totally natural, like conversations you'd overhear between real people. His characters chat about random things, burgers, music, movies, and somehow those talks reveal who they are and what kind of world they live in. In Pulp Fiction, for example, Vincent and Jules talk about how McDonald's in France calls a quarter pounder a royale with cheese. It's funny and weirdly charming, but it also shows how relaxed and confident they are before they step into something dark and dangerous. In Reservoir Dogs, the film opens with a group of criminals arguing about tipping waitresses. It feels like ordinary talk, yet it builds tension and shows the group's personalities. Bold, stubborn, and unpredictable. Tarantino loves filling his films with pop culture. His characters debate songs, movies, and old TV shows like they're chatting in a diner. In Pulp Fiction, the conversation about Madonna's "Like a Virgin" turns into a wild, over-the-top discussion that's both funny and revealing. It tells you so much about how his characters think without needing any exposition. He also uses references to connect his films and pay tribute to old favorites. The Big Kahuna Burger, mentioned in Pulp Fiction, appears again in From Dusk Till Dawn, creating a shared little universe. Django Unchained takes its name from a 1966 spaghetti western, and Jackie Brown and Kill Bill overflow with nods to 70s movies, martial arts, and classic music. Tarantino's dialogue feels alive because it's full of rhythm, humor, and attitude. His characters talk like they have stories to tell, opinions to defend, and pop culture running through their veins. Every line feels like a mix of movie magic and real life, making his worlds impossible to forget. Trademark 2. Nonlinear storytelling. Quentin Tarantino loves playing with time. His movies rarely move in a straight line from start to finish. Instead, they jump back and forth, showing pieces of the story out of order. It's like watching a puzzle come together, where every new scene suddenly changes how you see the last one. In Pulp Fiction, for example, the story is chopped into different sections that don't follow a normal timeline. You might see Vincent and Jules in one scene, then jump to Butch the Boxer, and later circle back to something that already happened. By the end, everything connects perfectly. But getting there feels like solving a cool mystery. Reservoir Dogs works the same way. The movie starts after a failed robbery, and we slowly learn what went wrong through flashbacks and conversations. Instead of showing the heist itself, Tarantino focuses on the characters' reactions and secrets. You're constantly trying to figure out who's lying, who's loyal, and how it all fits together. In Kill Bill, he flips between the bride's revenge mission and flashbacks to her training and past. Seeing the backstory later makes her journey feel more powerful and emotional. Even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood jumps around in time, using flashbacks and dreamlike moments to play with memory and nostalgia. He tells stories like a DJ mixing tracks, skipping, looping, and dropping surprises exactly when they'll hit hardest. His non-linear style keeps you hooked because you're always connecting the dots. It's clever, unpredictable, and makes every rewatch feel like discovering something new. Trademark 3. Stylized violence and gore. Quentin Tarantino has a way of turning violence into pure cinema. When things get bloody in his movies, it never feels random. It feels designed. Every gunshot, sword swing, and explosion of chaos has rhythm, color, and attitude. He makes violence part of the story's heartbeat, something that shocks you, entertains you, and keeps you glued to the screen. In Pulp Fiction, everything's cool and casual until Vincent accidentally shoots Marvin in the car. The moment comes out of nowhere. It's sudden, messy, and hilarious in the worst possible way. You're horrified, but you can't stop laughing. That's the Tarantino effect, taking something brutal and twisting it into dark comedy without losing the tension. You see that same magic in Reservoir Dogs. Mr. Blonde starts dancing to Stuck in the Middle with You while torturing a cop. And the mix of cheerful music with violence is so absurd it burns into your memory. It's uncomfortable, but fascinating. You almost feel guilty for watching, yet you can't look away. Then there's Kill Bill, where the bride faces the crazy 88 gang in a breathtaking sword fight. The scene explodes with energy. Blood sprays across the screen like paint, and every movement feels choreographed like a dance. It's violent, yes, but it's also visually stunning, like a martial arts ballet dipped in red. In Django Unchained, Tarantino channels that same wild style into something deeper. The revenge scenes feel powerful, even cathartic. The violence doesn't just shock, it means something. It gives the story weight, turning pain into triumph. That's what makes Tarantino's style so addictive. He doesn't use violence just to shock people, he uses it to tell stories, build rhythm, and make you feel something. Trademark 4. Strong female characters. Tarantino has a real talent for creating women who own the screen. His female characters are bold, clever, and completely in control of their stories. They're not there to decorate the plot or wait to be saved. They take charge, make choices, and face consequences head-on. The best example is Beatrix the Bride Kiddo from Kill Bill. After being betrayed and left for dead, she claws her way back with pure determination. Every fight, every scar, every step of her revenge feels earned. You watch her go from heartbreak to absolute power, slicing her way through dozens of enemies until she finally finds peace. She's fierce, vulnerable, and unstoppable. Everything a true lead should be. Tarantino brings that same strength in a completely different way with Jackie Brown. Jackie doesn't fight with swords or guns. She fights with her mind. Stuck between the police and dangerous criminals, she outsmarts them all with calm confidence and quiet courage. She plays her cards so well that everyone underestimates her until she wins. Even in Pulp Fiction, Mia Wallace commands attention. She's cool, unpredictable, and magnetic. When she's on screen, everything slows down. The way she talks, dances, or even just looks at Vincent tells you she's not someone who blends into the background. Then there's Shosanna from Inglourious Basterds, whose strength burns quietly beneath her calm exterior. After losing her family, she rebuilds her life, plots her revenge, and executes it with absolute focus. It's strength born from pain, and it's both powerful and moving to watch. Tarantino's women are never one-dimensional. They're fierce and flawed, brave and vulnerable, capable of being heroes or villains, sometimes both at once. They speak their minds, take control, and carry entire films on their shoulders. Trademark 5. Homages and references to cinema history. Quentin Tarantino grew up obsessed with movies, and you can feel that love in every frame he creates. His films are like one big celebration of cinema history. He doesn't hide his influences. He proudly wears them on his sleeve. Every costume, camera move, and soundtrack choice feels like a wink to the movies that inspired him, while still feeling fresh and uniquely his. In Kill Bill, for example, the bride's yellow jumpsuit is a clear nod to Bruce Lee's Game of Death, and the sword fights are choreographed with the spirit of old Japanese samurai films. He even opens the film with the Shawscope logo, a tribute to the classic kung fu movies of the 1970s. But instead of simply copying, Tarantino blends these ideas into something electric and new, mixing genres like a DJ mixing tracks. With Django Unchained, he takes his love for spaghetti westerns and turns it into a modern revenge story. The movie's name comes from a 1966 film called Django, and Tarantino even gives the original star, Franco Nero, a cameo that is small, but a heartfelt thank you to the legends who came before him. And then there's Inglourious Basterds, where he reimagines World War II through his own creative lens. It's part war movie, part western, part revenge fantasy, all stitched together with his signature flair for tension and style. Even his first film, Reservoir Dogs, shows that same film geek energy. The final standoff was inspired by a Hong Kong action movie called City on Fire, and his production company, A Band Apart, takes its name from Jean-Luc Godard's Bande à part. Watching a Tarantino film feels like watching someone talk about the movies they love, but instead of words, he uses action, music, and style. His work reminds us why people fall in love with film in the first place, because it's exciting, alive, and full of possibilities. Trademark 6. Long takes and unique camera angles. Quentin Tarantino uses the camera like an extra character in his movies. It moves, observes, and reacts right along with the story. The way he shoots a scene pulls you in. You feel like you're standing there with the characters instead of watching from the outside. He loves using long takes, where the camera follows the action without cutting away. In Pulp Fiction, when Vincent and Jules walk down the hallway before the big confrontation, the camera stays with them in one smooth motion. You can feel the tension slowly building as they talk and move toward the door. In Jackie Brown, there's a quiet, chilling moment when Ordell drives Beaumont to an empty lot. The camera just sits there and watches. That stillness makes the ending of that scene hit much harder. One of Tarantino's most famous shots is the trunk shot, where the camera looks up from inside a car trunk. You see it in Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, and Kill Bill. The angle makes the characters look powerful and intimidating, as if you're the one trapped inside looking up at them. It's simple, but unforgettable. He also plays with close-ups and sudden zooms. Sometimes he'll focus tightly on a face or an object, like the bride's toes twitching in Kill Bill as she tries to move. He lets the camera linger just long enough for that tiny detail to feel huge. The camera in his films moves with purpose. It builds tension, adds style, and gives each scene personality. Whether it's gliding through a hallway, circling a group of people, or staring straight up from the trunk of a car, his camera work makes you feel like you're part of the action. Trademark 7. Dark humor and irony. Quentin Tarantino has a wicked sense of humor, the kind that makes you laugh at moments you know you shouldn't. His dark humor and irony turn violence and chaos into something strangely entertaining. It's his way of reminding you that movies can make you laugh, wince, and think all at the same time. Take Pulp Fiction. There's that scene where Vincent accidentally shoots Marvin in the car. It's shocking, it's messy, and somehow, it's hilarious. The way the characters panic and argue about cleaning up the disaster turns a brutal mistake into one of the most memorable darkly funny moments in film. In Reservoir Dogs, the infamous scene where Mr. Blonde dances to Stuck in the Middle with You while torturing a cop is another perfect example. The upbeat song, the calm dancing, and the horrible act happening all at once, it's deeply uncomfortable, but you can't look away. Tarantino uses irony here to mess with your emotions, forcing you to feel two things at once: horror and amusement. He plays the same trick in Inglourious Basterds, but on a bigger scale. It's a war movie that turns history on its head, full of sharp, dark humor that makes the violence feel both satisfying and absurd. You laugh, then realize what you're laughing at. And that's the genius of it. Basically, his humor isn't there just for laughs. It's a way to expose the madness of his worlds. His irony cuts through the seriousness, making you question what you're seeing. He finds comedy in the chaos and truth in the absurd. And that's what keeps his stories alive long after the credits roll. Trademark 8. Attention to detail in costume and set design. Quentin Tarantino creates worlds that feel alive because every detail matters to him. The clothes, the furniture, the lighting, even the smallest objects in the background all help tell the story. His sets and costumes do more than look good. They reveal personality, mood, and history. For example, in Pulp Fiction, the black suits worn by Vincent and Jules instantly set a tone. They look sharp, dangerous, and professional, which makes the absurd conversations they have even more memorable. The famous Jack Rabbit Slim's restaurant, with its neon glow and 1950s decor, captures Tarantino's love for retro culture and turns a simple dinner into something unforgettable. Also take The Hateful Eight. Everything happens inside one snowbound cabin, but the details make that small space feel rich and layered. The heavy coats, worn hats, and rough fabrics make you feel the cold and tension. Each costume gives a hint about the characters' pasts and what kind of people they are. Similarly, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino's love for authenticity shines through. Every street sign, movie poster, and car rebuilds 1969 Los Angeles with stunning precision. You can almost hear the old engines and smell the mix of dust and gasoline in the air. It's his attention to detail that turns every frame into a piece of art. Tarantino's sets and costumes carry emotion, attitude, and history. If you liked this breakdown and want more fun takes on filmmaking and storytelling, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. There's plenty more movie magic coming your way.